My friends, I need you to stop what you're doing right now, because what I'm about to share with you today could directly impact your bank account this month. If you're receiving Social Security retirement benefits, SSI, SSDI, or you're a veteran counting on your VA payments, there's breaking news coming out of Washington this Tuesday morning that you absolutely need to understand. Now, I know how confusing all these government announcements can be, and I know how frustrating it is when you hear about stimulus payments and updates, but nobody takes the time to explain what it really means for folks like us who've worked our entire lives and are now trying to live on fixed incomes. That's exactly why I'm here with you today, sitting down like we're at your kitchen table with a cup of coffee, going through this together step by step. I've spent the last several hours going through the official announcements, reading the fine print that most people skip right over, and I'm going to break down exactly what this $2,000 stimulus update means. Who's getting it, when you can expect to see it in your account, and most importantly, what you need to do right now to make sure you don't miss out on a single penny that you're entitled to. Because here's the thing that breaks my heart, my friends. Every single month, thousands of seniors across this country miss out on benefits, credits, and payments simply because nobody took the time to explain it to them in plain English. Well, that stops today. We're going through everything together, and by the end of our conversation, you're going to know exactly where you stand and what steps you need to take. Now, let me start by addressing what everyone's been asking since this morning. The $2,000 stimulus update that's taking effect today is not a direct payment that everyone's going to receive in one lump sum. And I need to be completely honest with you about that right from the start, because there's a lot of confusion and, unfortunately, some misleading information floating around on the internet. What we're actually looking at is a combination of several different programs and adjustments that, when added together for certain eligible seniors, could total up to $2,000 or more in additional benefits over the coming months. This includes the new COLA adjustment calculations that just went into effect, special one-time payments for certain SSI recipients who were underpaid in previous months, veteran benefit increases that the VA just announced, and some tax credits that many seniors don't even realize they qualify for. So when I talk about this $2,000 update, I'm talking about the total potential benefit increase that many of you could see when you combine all of these programs together. And yes, some of you, depending on your specific situation, could actually see even more than $2,000 when everything is calculated correctly. Let me walk you through each component of this update, starting with the Social Security changes that took effect this morning. The Social Security Administration has just implemented what they're calling an emergency adjustment for beneficiaries who were affected by payment processing errors between November and January. Now, if you noticed that your December or January payment seemed a little off, or if you had any issues with your direct deposit during those months, you need to pay very close attention to this part. The SSA has identified approximately 375,000 beneficiaries who received slightly less than they should have due to a computer system glitch during the annual COLA implementation. I know that sounds like technical government speak, but what it means in real terms is this. If your monthly Social Security retirement benefit is, let's say, $1,892, but because of this glitch, you only received $1,867 for 2 months. The SSA is now going back and making that right. They're issuing correction payments that include the back pay you're owed plus a small additional amount to account for the delay. For most people affected, this correction payment is ranging anywhere from $48 up to $218, and these payments started processing at midnight last night. If you're one of the affected beneficiaries, you should see a separate deposit in your account labeled SSA Adjustment within the next 3 to 5 business days. But that's just the first piece of this update, my friends. The second component involves SSI recipients, and this is where things get really interesting for many of you. The Supplemental Security Income Program has announced a special supplemental payment for individuals who are currently receiving SSI and who also qualify for what's called the Cost of Living Hardship Provision. Now, let me explain what that means in plain English. If you're receiving SSI, which is currently maxed out at $943 per month for an individual in most states, and your total monthly income, including any other small pensions or benefits, is still below the federal poverty line, you may qualify for this one-time supplemental payment of up to $675. This payment is designed to help SSI recipients who are struggling the most with rising costs of food, housing, and medications. The beautiful thing about this particular payment is that it doesn't count against your regular SSI benefit, and it won't affect your eligibility for other programs like SNAP benefits or Medicaid. The SSA is automatically identifying eligible recipients based on your 2024 income information that they already have on file. So, in most cases, you don't need to apply for this separately. However, and this is important, if you had any changes in your living situation or income sources in the last 6 months that you haven't reported to Social Security yet, you need to contact them right away because that could affect your eligibility for this supplemental payment. Now let's talk about our veterans, because the VA just announced some changes that are going to put more money in the pockets of many of you who served our country. Effective this month, the Department of Veterans Affairs is implementing an increase to disability compensation rates that goes beyond the standard COLA adjustment. If you're receiving VA disability benefits at any rating level from 10% up to 100%, you're going to see an additional increase in your monthly payment. For a veteran with a 100% disability rating, this means your monthly payment is going up from $3,737 to $3,896. That's an increase of $159 per month, my friends, which adds up to over $1,900 over the course of the year. For veterans at the 50% rating level, you're looking at an increase from around $1,075 to approximately $1,136 monthly. And here's something that many veterans don't realize. If you have dependents, including a spouse or children under 18, or if you're caring for a parent, you're entitled to additional compensation on top of these base rates. I've talked to so many veterans over the years who were never told about these dependent benefits, and they missed out on thousands of dollars simply because nobody explained it to them. If you're a veteran receiving disability compensation and you have dependents that you haven't claimed, you need to file VA Form 21686C as soon as possible. Let me also address something that's causing confusion for many dual beneficiaries, those of you who receive both Social Security and SSI, or Social Security and VA benefits. There's a concern that some people have that these new payments might cause a reduction in their other benefits, and I want to clear that up right now. The SSA correction payments for the processing errors do not count as income for SSI purposes, so if you're receiving both Social Security retirement and SSI, getting that correction payment will not reduce your SSI check. Similarly, the VA disability increases do not affect your Social Security benefits at all because VA disability compensation is completely separate from the Social Security system. However, and this is where you need to be careful, if you're receiving SSI and you get the VA increase, you do need to report that change to Social Security within 10 days. In most cases, because VA disability is handled differently in the SSI calculation, it won't reduce your SSI dollar for dollar, but failing to report it could cause problems down the line, including potential overpayment situations that nobody wants to deal with. Now let's talk about some of the lesser-known benefits and credits that can add to your total benefit package, because this is where many seniors are leaving money on the table every single year. First, there's the senior tax credit that was expanded in the latest budget agreement. If you're over 65 and your total income is below $32,000 for an individual or $48,000 for a married couple, you may qualify for a tax credit of up to $1,500 when you file your taxes this year. This credit is specifically designed to offset some of the Social Security taxes that many seniors pay on their benefits. And yes, my friends, I know it seems unfair that we have to pay taxes on Social Security benefits that we already paid into our whole working lives, but that's a conversation for another day. The important thing right now is making sure you claim this credit. You'll need to file IRS Form Schedule R with your tax return, and if you're not comfortable doing your taxes yourself, please reach out to the AARP Foundation Tax Aid Program or the Volunteer Income Tax Assistance Program, both of which offer free tax preparation for seniors. There's also something called the Medicare Premium Refund Program that not enough people know about. If your income dropped significantly last year compared to previous years, maybe because you finally retired or you lost a part-time job, you might be paying more for your Medicare Part B premium than you should be. The standard Part B premium this year is $185 per month, but if you're in one of the higher income brackets from 2 years ago, you could be paying anywhere from $259 up to $628 per month based on old income information. If your income has decreased, you can file Form SSA 44 with Social Security to request a recalculation. I helped my neighbor Margaret with this last year, and she was able to get her premium reduced by $94 per month. Plus, she received a refund for the overpayments from the previous 6 months. That added up to over $1,300 back in her pocket, my friends. Money that she had every right to, but didn't even know she was entitled to. Let me share a real-life example of how all these pieces can come together, because I think it'll help you see the bigger picture. I have a friend named Robert who's 72 years old. He receives Social Security retirement benefits of about $1,900 per month, and he has a VA disability rating of 70%, which pays him about $1,700 per month. Robert was one of the people affected by that SSA processing error, so he's getting a correction payment of $134. He also qualified for the Medicare premium reduction when his income dropped last year, which saved him $72 per month going forward. With the new VA increase, his disability payment went up by $89 per month. When you add up the one-time correction payment, the monthly Medicare savings over 12 months, and the monthly VA increase over 12 months, Robert is looking at over $2,200 in additional benefits this year compared to what he was expecting. That's the power of understanding all these programs and making sure you're getting everything you're entitled to. Now, I need to talk about something that's not as pleasant, but is absolutely critical for you to understand, and that's the issue of benefit clawbacks and overpayments. The Social Security Administration has become much more aggressive in the last couple of years about identifying overpayments and demanding that money back from beneficiaries. If you receive any kind of notice from Social Security saying that you were overpaid, do not ignore it, my friends. Even if you don't think it's correct, you need to respond within 60 days, or they will start withholding your benefits to recover that money. I've seen cases where seniors had their entire monthly Social Security check withheld because of an alleged overpayment from years ago that they didn't even know about. If you get one of these notices, you have rights. You can request a waiver if you believe the overpayment wasn't your fault, and paying it back would cause you financial hardship. You can request a reconsideration if you think they made a mistake in calculating the overpayment. And even if you do owe the money, you can request a repayment plan that's based on your ability to pay rather than having your whole check taken. Please don't be scared or embarrassed if this happens to you. It's happening to thousands of seniors, and there are people who can help you navigate it. As we wrap up today's update, I want to make sure you know exactly what action steps you should take right now. First, check your bank account over the next 5 days for any SSA adjustment payments. Second, if you're an SSI recipient living below the poverty line, watch for that supplemental payment. And if you don't receive it within the next 2 weeks, but you think you should qualify, call Social Security at 1-800-772-1213. Third, if you're a veteran, check your VA payment this month to confirm you received the full increase you're entitled to. Fourth, review your Medicare premium on your Social Security statement, and if you think it might be too high based on reduced income, file that SSA 44 form. And fifth, start gathering your tax documents now so you can claim that senior tax credit when you file your return. My friends, I know this is a lot of information to take in all at once, and that's exactly why I wanted to sit down with you today and walk through it step by step. These government programs and benefits can be confusing. The notices they send out are often written in language that's hard to understand, and it's easy to feel overwhelmed by all of it. But here's what I want you to remember. You earned these benefits. You paid into Social Security your entire working life. Our veterans earned their benefits through service and sacrifice. These aren't handouts. These aren't charity. This is money that rightfully belongs to you. And my mission is to make sure that every single senior watching today understands what they're entitled to and knows how to get it. You deserve to live with dignity and financial security in your retirement years. And sometimes that means being your own advocate and making sure you're getting every penny that's rightfully yours. I hope this update has been helpful to you, and I encourage you to share this information with your friends and family members who might benefit from it. Take care of yourselves, stay informed, and remember that you're not alone in navigating all of this. We're in this together, and I'll be here to keep you updated every step of the way.